Nathan Judah. I'm here at a little bit of a rainy Compton Park with Wolverhampton Wanderers reporter extraordinaire. It's Mr. Liam Keane. Liam, we've just heard from June Lopetegui ahead of the big game against Manchester United at Old Trafford. Can't wait. Pressure a little bit off now. Safety is achieved. I thought Julian was great in the press conference today. Look, he's always keeps his cards close to his chest, but you could see that there's just been something, weight taken off his shoulders, I think.
Absolutely, a little bit of relief, isn't there now?
He smiled at you.
He always smiles at me. He always does. You weren't here for the press conference last week. You only worked part time, so I didn't get a chance to say on camera that.
Brilliant. I like it. I've got to take it on the chin a little bit.
That he was a little bit spiky. He was a little bit.
Because I wasn't there.
Yeah, exactly. A little bit ferocious at the last press conference, coming off the back of obviously losing 6-0 to Brighton, and Wolves weren't out of the woods yet. Obviously, the win over Villa meant they were right on the edge, and then the results afterwards meant they are now safe. And you could tell the difference between. He was like a different man. Everyone has, fluctuates in their mood, and they have a good day, bad days. But he was totally different. Was a little bit more open with some of the answers he was giving, but he's never going to give you that too much. He gives you a little bit, he teases you a little bit, and then he doesn't go all the way.
I've had that before. Many of my women
been there. And yeah, look, it was a very pleasant press conference, but there's plenty to take from it, and I think a lot of the big stuff from particularly the broadcast section was about looking to the future. He's not taking these next 3 games for granted, but he wants to give players a chance. He wants to.
How much of a chance do you think they're going to get, Liam? And we discussed on the podcast, a couple of questions asked today. He was asked to go into a bit more detail. Of course, he's not going to name names and how much, but do you feel that there will be a bit of a. Because look, there will be players here in these last 3 games in the squad that will not be here next season. That's a guarantee. So is it just on a game by game basis, do you feel?
I think so. We spoke about on the podcast as well that the Everton game in a week's time at home, last home game of the season, probably feels like more of an opportunity to give some of these players a chance to either impress or say goodbye. We may see that against United or against Arsenal as well in these final 3 games. Going away to United, I think Lopetegui will take it very seriously, to be honest. I think he'll try to win the game and try to play a team that he thinks will win the game. But he left a little bit of a door open, a small crack, if you will, for some players to get. You almost laughed at that. Some players to get there.
I've left a crack of a door open before. And a window open.
It's going downhill fast.
I'm safe, it's fine.
Yeah, who cares? All the tractors going through now as well. It's perfect time. Left a little bit of a gap.
Pardon?
For some players to maybe get in there and have a chance.
Yeah, look, I guess the ones that people want to know: Ryan Aït-Nouri, Raúl Jiménez, Jean Moutinho. Those are the type of players who will be looking to Johnny. I guess these are the type of players that probably are not going to be there next season. Ryan Aït-Nouri probably's got a bit of a chance, but the others, you think that it's definitely in the balance. But you would say that maybe Everton would be a more presentable opportunity because, like he said, look, end of the day, Manchester United are one of the best sides in world football. Now, okay, they've had a bit of a disappointing season, but they're still going for Champions League. What you don't want to do there is give a load of people, a last bow or last couple of bows, and they get stumped 4-5-6. We saw what we did against Brighton, and he'll want to win that game, or he'll want to at least compete in that game, and for that, he's got to pick his best side.
Yeah, absolutely. And he also hinted to say, look, as much as he give players a chance, if Wolves were on the other side of it and they needed other teams to get results against other teams to help Wolves out, whether Wolves are going for Europe or surviving relegation, whatever it is, he would want those teams to do it. And it's about the integrity of the competition. So that's the approach you'll have, but maybe dropping a few opportunities for some players here and there as well.
Look, he obviously talked again about the opportunity of coming here, and I thought it was great, and we'll go into a bit more detail about it maybe in next week's podcast, but the fact that he wanted to test himself, he wanted to, he's obviously managed some great players and been part of Champions League qualifications and winning silverware and managing national sides, but he wanted to test himself, at the other end of the table and test his own ability as a manager, and I thought that was very, telling really, and just shows the character of the guy, because a lot of managers will not do that. They will not pick a side that's below 4th or 5th or 6th. They're not going to do it, and the fact that he's done that just shows everything about why Wolves are in such good hands going forward.
Yeah, definitely. Look, after the Villa game, he said people told me I was crazy to come here, and he probably was, to be honest. But he's got relationships with obviously Fosa, having almost signed here all those years ago. Look, Wolves were desperate and had to pay money to bring him in. Obviously, it wasn't cheap to bring a manager like him in. They've had to invest in January as well. But all those things added together, Lopetegui being the most crucial catalyst for me, means Wolves are safe and in the Premier League next season. That's music to our ears.
Difficult to say, of course. There's so many options. You said it's a fully fit squad. So do you envisage lots of changes, a couple or zero?
I would say a couple, maybe. Potentially playing on the counter. Maybe a Costa won't start, and you might have an Adama, a Podence, a Sarabia. Neto's obviously done decent in the last couple of games, so maybe he'll get an opportunity again. So I would expect them to be more counter-attack focused. But probably not wholesale changes. I would imagine maybe a couple, of maybe one or two of the players on the bench, as we mentioned already.
I've gone for a famous 1-0 win at Old Trafford. Liam Keane, please tell your adoring public what you've gone for.
Well, you've listened to the podcast.
Well, you haven't. You don't listen to it.
Let's not argue on camera.
I'm not happy. You always need to listen to it. Learn from your mistakes.
I said Wolves will lose 2-0.
Oh, come on.
I'm sorry.
You've changed it now. You've heard Julian. He's happy. He's bouncy. Have you changed your opinion?
I obviously hope I'm wrong. But I think it's, Wolves are safe. United lost against West Ham. Desperately need a result. I think it's got United win written all over it. But I take no pleasure in saying that, and I hope I'm wrong.
1-0 Wolves. Big game, Old Trafford Saturday. Me and Keno will be there for all the build-up on this one. Make sure you log on to expressandstar.com.